YouTube, Sarah here, and welcome to my channel. Today I'm coming to you with my weekly reads for August the 25th of 2018. First of all, you're going to notice it's a little different. I wish I could meld this camera and my cell phone camera together in one, because I love like the wide angle kind of that you get with this camera, and I actually think the sound quality is better. But my cell phone is actually a lot crisper, like the video itself is clearer to look at. I am shooting on my laptop today because unfortunately my cell phone decided to die. It was working fine this morning when I was getting ready for work, and I am recording this on Friday night as usual. You know, I was listening to my audiobook and everything was fine. I was messaging with my friends, and you know, I listened to my audiobook on the way to work, and I got to the office, pulled the cell phone out of my purse, put it on my desk, went to open it to check something, and all of a sudden I got like the screen that says Samsung S7, and it wouldn't turn off, it wouldn't properly turn on. I called Rogers Tech Support. Rogers is our cell phone carrier, and the guy got on the phone with me and goes, "Oh, it sounds like it's looping," which is like essentially what it was doing, was just turning off and on, off and on. But I would never get my main screen. And he's like, "Yeah, that's bad." Bless him for not sugarcoating it for me. Anyway, long story short, I am getting a new cell phone. This one, for me to fix it, I'd have to take it to a repair shop, and I don't know how long they'd have it. I don't know how long it would take. I don't even know if they can fix it. He said he's not absolutely certain what the problem is. We tried a couple things when we were on the phone, and nothing seemed to be working. So that's why I'm shooting on my laptop. So my first thought when I was like going to be told I was going to be without a phone, because I won't get my new phone till Monday or Tuesday, my immediate thought was, how am I going to record BookTube? Then I'm like, oh wait, I have a laptop camera. But I do have my old Samsung that I was able to have this thing. It feels ancient. It feels like dinosaurs use this, and it's only an S4. You get so used to the new technology, but it's got a Christmas back thing on it. The last time I used this was 2015, 2016, I think. So anyway, I had this. I was able to take my SIM card out of the old phone and put it in this one. So I have a phone, you know, and that's fine. I didn't lose any pictures or anything like that off the old one. A lot of people were asking me that, because I have the Android. Everything backs up to the Google Drive for me, so all of my photos uploaded, so I don't have to worry about that. You know, I didn't lose any phone numbers. Those were all on my SIM card. Yeah, so I'm okay with it, and I'm getting a brand new S9. So I had an S7, now I'm going to an S9, so I'm very excited. And it's going to be purple, which is very exciting. So anyway, long story short, that is why I'm filming on this. Like I said, I love like the picture that you get from this, but it's not as crisp. It seems grainy to me. Do you know what I mean? So I'm excited to see what the new phone is going to be like, because I've heard a lot of reviews that the camera on it is fantastic. So that makes me super excited. So anyway, let's get into, oh wait, what I'm drinking today. Because it's Friday and I had a lousy day with the cell phone, I went to Starbucks and I got the mango dragon fruit. This is so good. Oh my gosh, so good. It's a little sweet. It's very sweet actually, but it's really yummy. It's really sweet, sorry, but you also get that hit of tartness into it. If you haven't tried it, definitely give it a try. It's really yummy. So it is a tea. It's a dragon fruit and mango tea with lemonade. You can get it without lemonade if you want. I think next time, and I keep forgetting to do this, is next time I'm going to get it with like half lemonade, because it'll cut down on some of the sweetness. Anyway, I finished, I think, 6 books this week, you guys, so let's jump in and get started with the books. So the first book that I read this week was Always My Girl by Samantha Chase. This is a contemporary romance novel. It is book number 3 in the Shaughnessy Brothers series. This was narrated on audio by Christopher Kipanik and Julia Matoyka, I think. This was published in 2016 by Sourcebooks Casablanca. Average rating of 3.9 stars on Goodreads. I gave it 3 stars. I got 1 challenge for this one, my What to Read in 2018, for task number 7, which was go to a book page for any book you read in the last 30 days, and read 1 book that is listed on the Readers Also Enjoyed on the top right. You know when you see that on Goodreads? So you had to just pick a book and then pick from there. So this one ended up being there. I really love the cover of this book. I didn't absolutely love this story. I had some issues with it. My main issue was Quinn, our male lead in this book. He was kind of a jerk, to be fair, or to be honest. Just the way he talked to Anna. Is it Anna? Yeah, it was Anna. Just the way he talked to her really bothered me. So this was a friends to lovers story, and the two of them knew each other since they were kids, like little kids. The book actually opens up with the two of them meeting for the first time when they're like 7 years old. That was super cute. They grew up together. They're very best friends. He often kind of takes advantage of her, you know, and she jumps whenever he asks her to because she's like in love with him. This is not the way you show your affection. She bakes him cookies. She takes him food. She pretty much waits on him hand and foot. And then when the actual relationship starts, he just seems to be a jerk. And it really bothered me. It still got 3 stars because I didn't absolutely hate it. The writing was great, and stuff like that. I just really didn't like him. He did redeem himself in the end, but I still had some issues with it. And yeah, I mean, I'm not saying rush out to read it, but it is available on the Audible Romance package, so I listened to it for free. So with my membership. So if you're interested, give it a check, like, you know, check it out and see what you think. Samantha Chase is a good writer, and I do really, really like her books. It's just, this one, Quinn, just fell flat for me. The next book that I finished was Second Chance at 2 Love Lane. This was by Kieran Kramer. This is another contemporary romance novel. It is book number 3 in the 2 Love Lane series. It was published in 2018 by St. Martin's Press. It was published this month, actually. This is a NetGalley book. So I want to very much thank NetGalley and the publisher for sending me a copy of this to review. It has an average rating of 3.82 stars on Goodreads. I gave it 3.5 stars. This was a second chance romance. So it's about Ella and Hank. And the two of them meet in New York City when they are younger, like just going into college, I would say. He was a busboy at this restaurant that her and her dad used to go to every single year on her birthday. Her father would take her to a Broadway play and then take her out to this like dessert type restaurant to eat. And he happened to be a busboy. So for the last few years, as she was older, like the last years of high school, he would see her there. And, you know, they would get talking and stuff like that. And then he asked her out. And the two of them dated for a number of years and had, you know, a hot and heavy relationship. And then they split up. And it's now been 10 years since they split up. And she's now living in Charleston, South Carolina. He is now a very famous actor. They were both actors. That's kind of what they bonded over. And her acting career never really went anywhere. There was something that happened in their past, the reason why the two of them broke up, which I'm not going to divulge. You're going to kind of get that from reading the story. But he went on to be a very famous actor, and she acts in like little community theater plays and stuff like that. But she actually runs the matchmaking service at 2 Love Lane, which is where this series takes its name from. And, you know, so he kind of comes back into her life, and the story goes from there. It was really cute, and I really, really enjoyed it. I'm very much looking forward to checking out the first 2 books in the series. I think the first book is actually a Christmas book, so I might try to fit it into my Christmas TBR in December. But yeah, I absolutely recommend it. It was super adorable. The next book that I finished was Dark Rites by Heather Graham. This is a paranormal romance novel. It is book number 22 in the Crew of Hunters series, narrated on audio, of course, by Luke Daniels. This was published in 2017 by Mira. Average rating of 4.01 stars on Goodreads. I gave it 4 stars. I gave it 4 stars. For one challenge for this one, and that was my 2018 Stacking the Series challenge. This was my 30th out of 45th book. 15 more books to finish this challenge for the end of the year. I'm getting there, slowly. My September TBR, which will be a video coming out this week, I was able to fit some more of my Stacking the Series stuff on there, so that's very exciting. So anyway, this book. This book was super duper creepy. Like, serious, especially on audio. I think audio takes, like, stories like this and just adds another level of creepiness to it because someone's telling you the story, and it's almost like sitting around a campfire listening to a ghost story. Do you know what I mean? That's kind of why I love these. But anyway, this is actually a continuation of the previous book, Dying Breath. So I do recommend that you read these Dying Breath and then this one in order. I don't know if the next one, Wicked Deeds, is another carryover. I'll have to look at it. I am reading that one next week. So I will definitely let you guys know next week when I finish that one, if it is a true trilogy. So it follows the same 2 main characters, Vicky and Griffin. And he's the FBI agent, and she, in the first book, without giving too much away of the plot of the first book, she was the victim, essentially. And the two of them now have started a relationship. So this is a carryover, and this is a different story. So the story itself, like the actual bad thing that's happening, it was one thing in the first book, and now it's something completely different in this book. So it's a different case, if you will. and her best friend, or one of her very good friends, Alex, has gone missing. And, you know, they know something nefarious is going on, and there's something to do with a cult and Satan worship, and I mean, creepy. This book opens up with Alex waking up in a abandoned insane asylum, and that's all I'm going to tell you. So, so good. Absolutely recommend it. Like I said, start with Dying Breath, and then move on to this one. I really think if you like paranormal, if you like stuff that, you know, goes bump in the night, if you will, definitely check this series out. The next book that I finished, for something completely different, was The Prairie Doctor's Bride by Catherine Albright. I really enjoyed this book, you guys. This is a historical romance, American West, obviously. It was a Harlequin Historical Subscription, number 467. So the Harlequin Historical Subscription is different from the regular Harlequin Historical line. These were, I think, originally only offered to those who subscribed to, like, the monthly subscription box, but now you can actually buy them as ebooks. I think you can get them, I've picked up a couple physical copies, but I think they're more ones that people have turned into thrift stores. You can't buy them off the shelf, let's put it that way. But you can get them if you buy the box sets, or if you buy the ebooks, you can get them, definitely. So this was published in 2018 by Harlequin. It is a new release. An average rating of 4.4 stars on Goodreads. I gave it 4 stars. I really, really like this one, guys. For my Triple RC challenge, I got A's for August, which was read a book that starts with a letter A, or with an author whose first or last name starts with an A, and Albright starts with A. And for my Fly Around the World challenge, I got Cake, Alaska. K-A-K-E is the name of the town, and it is K-A-E, which is the airport code. So that's my 25th out of 105th. I have until the end of the year to finish this one. So yeah, like I said, this was a really, really good story, and this one I was thoroughly enjoyed by this one. It was a really, really fun read. It's a story about a man by the name of Nelson and a woman by the name of Sylvia. It takes place in Kansas, in the prairies, and he is a doctor, the local town doctor, and she is a widow of sorts. I don't want to get, again, too much into it because you need to read the book. But she is a widow of sorts, and she lives with her 7-year-old son out the outskirts of town. And this isn't part of a series, but I gather this author has written a lot of books in this Oak Grove town, because when I was looking at some of the reviews after I finished the book, a lot of people were saying it was so nice to visit with the characters in Oak Grove again. So I'm thinking a lot of these other characters that you've met have shown up in previous books. But again, it's not part of a series. These are all standalone books. They just kind of take place maybe in the same universe, if you will. So, yeah, so she lives on the outskirts of town, and then her little boy gets hurt. And she essentially comes to town and kidnaps him at gunpoint to bring him to look after her little boy, because she has no money. She's broke. She's, you know, she lives off the land, and she can't afford a doctor. So she essentially kidnaps him to bring him to look after her son. And, you know, the story kind of goes from there. It involves mail-order brides. These 5 women arrive on a train from the city to meet prospective husbands, and he is looking for a wife. What he actually wants is not necessarily a wife, but he wants a nurse. He wants, you know, someone to help him with his practice, someone to cook for him, to clean for him, you know, that very, it's the American West. It was the 1880s. Like, this is the way people thought back then, right? And, you know, so that's what he's looking for. So throughout the course of this book, while he's kind of not having a relationship with Sylvie, but the two of them are kind of butting heads and stuff like that, he's courting these 5 women, and it's really, really fun. Like, it's very interesting to read. It just seems like such an odd thing to do, to actually, like, interview for your prospective spouse. But yeah, it was really, really entertaining. But the relationship between Sylvie and Nelson was really adorable. They went through a lot of difficulties together. There's a lot of action in the story too. And yeah, absolutely recommend it. Go ahead and pick it up. I mean, you know, if you pick it up for the Kindle, it's probably under $4. You know, it's well worth the money because it was really, really good. The next book that I finished, I actually mentioned this on Twitter. I was talking with Prarie because I posted how much I enjoyed this book when I finished it, and I told her this. I said, I think this might be my favorite book of the year, and that is Map of the Heart by Susan Wiggs. Guys, this book, I said it in my Twitter post, this is the kind of book that makes you remember or makes you realize why you love to read. This is that kind of story. Do you know what I mean? So this is a women's fiction, historical fiction novel, World War II. So it takes place in modern day, and then again in World War II. It was narrated on audio brilliantly, I might add. If you can listen to this one on audio, 100 times over, recommend it. The girl who did the narration, Steena Traster, I think is her name. Fabulous. Absolutely. She made this story. Sorry for the little ding. It's my computer. This was published in 2017 by William Morrow. Average rating of 4.17 stars on Goodreads, guys. 5 stars all the way. 5 stars times 100. No joke. I cannot over-exaggerate this. Like, I'm not exaggerating. This is legit. Probably my favorite book I've read in a very long time. For my Triple RC challenge, this was for monthly challenge number 4, which is August is Admit You're Happy month, which is read a book that makes you happy. This one definitely made me happy. And for my Fly Around the World challenge, I got Fort Myers, Florida, which is RSW. So that's my 26th out of 105th book. It's hard to break down the plot for this one because it is a dual timeline. So in modern day, we have a woman by the name of Camille, and she is a widow. You don't find out until much later in the book exactly what happened to her husband, but she has a 14-year-old daughter who is unfortunately being bullied at school. And she, for her job, Camille's job, is she gets old rolls of film. Like, let's say you're going through your grandmother's attic and you happen upon a box that has an old roll of film, like not developed. And she takes those rolls of film and she'll develop them. And, you know, archival kind of quality, if you will. And that's what she does. And at the very beginning of the book, she meets a gentleman by the name of Finn. And he has given her the last roll of film that his father ever shot before he went missing in Cambodia during the Vietnam War. And inadvertently, at the very beginning of the book, you find out she kind of destroys. There's something happens, and this film ends up getting ruined. So she is, you know, very upset about it. But the two of them kind of work through it. So she has a father who is much older. Her mother and father, I think, had a 20-year age difference. So her father's in his 70s, and her mother's only in, like, her mid-50s. And her parents are divorced. Her mother is remarried. She's got half-sisters and things like that. And her father recently had a heart attack a number of months earlier. Or no, excuse me, it was a cancer diagnosis. And he's gone through, and he's in remission. And a relative of his, because he grew up in France, in the south of France in the countryside, and a relative of his at this house that he used to live in sent him this trunk of stuff that had belonged to his mother. Now, his mother died in childbirth, and his father actually died before he was even born, so he was born an orphan, essentially. And so they sent this trunk of things, and in it was an old camera and all these things, and they decide pretty much to take a trip to France to go and see if they can find out more. Finn is working in France. He does something with, I think, the UN, so he's there too. And then you get into the dual timeline narration, and you go back to the father's mother, to her time during World War II, living in this town. That's all I want to tell you. That's all I want to tell you. This book broke my heart. I was driving home, and there are scenes in this book, I'm getting like flustered now just thinking about it. There are scenes in this book that literally, I was in tears. I'm sitting at a stoplight. I mean, I'm not sobbing, but your eyes are getting, you know, welled up with tears, and I had goosebumps all over, you know. It was magical. This woman can write like nobody's business. I am encouraging everyone to please read this book. The best. If you like World War II fiction, if you like, you know, stuff like that, it was amazing. Absolutely, 100% amazing. If it's not my top book of 2018, I will be surprised on what's going to knock it out. It's all the feels. You are happy, you are sad, you know, you're rooting for the characters, you know, it was what I didn't want to stop listening to it because I didn't want to, you know, I just wanted to find out what was going to happen next. And, you know, because it's the dual timeline, you're listening to one thing and then something, and then it's like, suddenly it's like part 4, present day, and you're like, but what happened there? You know, like, I wanted to finish it. Oh, just unbelievable. Please do yourself a favor and read it. And the last book that I finished this week, nowhere near as good, but still enjoyable. I feel bad for the book coming after that one. Do you know what I mean? Is Captured by Chocolate by Steena Holmes. This is a contemporary romance novel. It's book number 11 in the Love at the Coffee Shop series. You guys know how much I enjoy this series. Published in 2017 by Tool Publishing. Average rating of 4.07 stars on Goodreads. I gave it 3.5 stars. I did enjoy it. For my challenges, this was my monthly challenge Reader's Choice, number 10. So essentially it was read any book of your choosing. This book was seriously cute. It was about Casey and Dylan. And Dylan you have kind of met throughout the entire series. He is the local DJ for the local radio station. DJ / meteorologist. And it's kind of a running joke throughout town that his weather predictions are never correct and things like that. And Casey is actually a very well-known photographer, but like a photojournalist, excuse me. And she has traveled all over the world documenting things, wars, and stuff like that that's going on. And she was just in Nepal, and something happened that, again, read the book, I don't want to give it away, that kind of broke her. And she decided to come home. But every time she comes home, she's only home for a few weeks, and then she decides to take off again. And her and Dylan kind of have this on-again, off-again relationship, like they're together, but she's always globetrotting, and he's at home. And, you know, finally it's like she decides that she's going to stay. And, you know, he doesn't believe her. So she kind of has to do this whole big grand gesture to show him that she wants to stay. And then after she's kind of convinced him, something comes up and then she wants to leave again. So, you know, it's kind of that story. It was really cute, really enjoyable. Steena Holmes is a fun author. This was a great book, a great addition to the series. And yeah, I do recommend it. I recommend this entire series. It is a sweet romance, so there is no adult content in this. So yeah, highly enjoyable, and I absolutely recommend it. So what am I currently reading? My current audiobook is Deeper by Megan Hart. This is being narrated on audio by Savannah Richards. This is a erotic novel. I actually, and I'll be honest, not that I've read a lot of erotic novels, because I really haven't. So what am I currently reading? My current audiobook is Deeper by Megan Hart. This is being narrated on audio by Savannah Richards. It is an erotic novel. So there is a lot of sexy times in this book. A lot. It's like 2 or 3 pages. Hey, one of those scenes. 2 or 3 pages. One of those scenes. You know what? I'll be honest. I don't think it's needed. It's billed as an erotic novel, so you kind of have to have those scenes in there. But you could have taken a good chunk of those out, and the story itself would have been really, really good on its own. Or it is really good on its own. I am enjoying it. I'm one of those people where it doesn't bother me to read that, but I don't really necessarily think it's required all the time. Do you know what I mean? But I will admit, though, and I'm not saying that if this is something that makes you uncomfortable, I'm not justifying it for you to go read it, but it's not, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not over the top. The scenes might last a page or half a page, and surprisingly, they're not overtly graphic. I mean, you know what's happening, and there is a lot of adult language that's used, but it's not scandalous. Maybe that's the word I'm looking for. I don't know. It's interesting. So this is the story about a woman named Bess. I think it's Bess. Yes, Bess. And this is another one that is a dual timeline narrative. So it takes place in present day, and it takes place 20 years ago. And it's her relationship with this boy by the name of Nick, who she had a relationship with 20 years ago when she was, you know, in college, working at the beach, making some money. And, you know, he's a local kid too, and the two of them kind of have this very hot and heavy relationship. And then in the modern day, or in the present day, he's back. And I don't want to give too much away from that. You kind of get from the back of the book, this is a paranormal story. You know, but it is highly entertaining. You want to kind of find out what happened to Nick. And I really do like how the past, what happened in the past to what is happening now, kind of mirrors each other in a way. It's really interesting, and I am really enjoying it. This is actually a reread for me. I've read it, this is the second time I read it. I read it about 7 or 8 years ago, I think, and this was the first erotic type novel I actually read. And after this, I actually read, I think it was 50 Shades of Grey, which I hated. because the writing was horrible. The writing in this one is fantastic. If you don't mind these kind of books, I recommend Megan Hart. She's a really, really great author for this. And, you know, I mean, I was going to say, you could probably flip through some of the, you know, sex scenes, but the book would probably get cut down to like 100 pages. It's a lot, you guys. But it is enjoyable, and I am liking it. But actually, one thing I wanted to mention, which I thought was really, really funny, was when I was reading Map of the Heart, it takes place in Bethany Beach, Delaware. And for some reason in my head, I thought that might have been a town that Susan Wiggs made up. This small little coastal town. The Deeper takes place in the same town. And I Google searched it, and it's a legit place. It was so funny. I was reading on Wikipedia. It's very much a tourist town in Delaware. And it says on Wikipedia something like, it has just a little over 1,000 full-time residents, but in the summer it goes up to like 150,000 or something ridiculous like that. So now I kind of want to go there to see it. So yeah, I just thought that like 2 books back to back, 2 audiobooks back to back, taking place in the same very small town of less than 1,000 people. I just thought that was kind of interesting. So yeah, my current ebook is Cowboy Charm School by Margaret Brownley. First book in the Hayward Bride series. This is another NetGalley book. I have not actually started this one yet. I literally just finished Captured by Chocolate earlier today. So I do plan on starting this one tonight. It looks like it's a Western, like, historical romance, and I'm sure I'm going to love it. I'm pretty sure it might be a mail-order bride situation. I'm not absolutely certain. My childhood book that I'm still reading is Double Love by Francine Pascal, the first book in the Sweet Valley High series. This is, like I said last week, trash. The best kind of trash. I'm thoroughly enjoying this one. I will talk more about it when I finish it. I'm about 80% of the way through it, so I should get it done this weekend. And yeah, it's been a lot of fun. If you guys read the Sweet Valley series when you were younger, you know, these are just a great fun throwback. And my print book that I'm currently still reading is Avalanche of Trouble by Cindi Myers. I am about that far through it. A little over 100 pages? Yeah, a little over 100 pages through it. I'm really enjoying this one. And I do plan on getting it done. I mentioned that I meant to get it done last weekend. That didn't happen. But hopefully by the end of this weekend, I shall get this one done. So, book haul. 2 books I actually bought this week, and I blame both these books on Steve Donahue. Last week I was watching his Friday Reads video, and he showed these 2 books that he was going to read them over the weekend. And I messaged him and I said, oh, I have already gone to purchase both of these. Like, as soon as I saw them, I'm like, I must own them. And Steve actually wrote me back. He's like, I really think you're going to like them. So, bonus. So the first one is Wedding the Widow by Jenna Jaxon. This is book number 2 in the Widows Club series. Pretty much both of these books are, I believe, about widows and kind of scandalous things that they do. And they both sound like they're going to be a lot of fun. So this is the first one that I got. This one is 99 cents for the Kindle if you're interested in going to check it out. The other one that I got, I think was like $5 for the Kindle. But this is, I love the title, is What Ails the Earl? A-L-E, Ails the Earl, by Sally MacKenzie. This is the first book in the, wait for it, Widows Brew series. Like Witches Brew series. This is a sneak peek for my September TBR. This book is actually on my September TBR. So I'm super duper excited about it. It looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. So yeah, so those are the 2 books that I have bought this week. So before I let you guys go, let me quickly show you what I've been knitting. So I made some seriously great progress on my sweater. It now almost doesn't fit in the bag anymore. I have to upgrade to a bigger bag. I do so love this bag so much with my Golden Girls on it. Whoops. Let's not get yarn caught in the zipper. I like zipper bags and I don't like zipper bags because I'm always afraid I'm going to catch the yarn in it. So this pattern is called Seclude, and it is by Alicia Plummer. So, show you guys, sorry. There's where I was last week, where my little Blanche stitch marker is. Yes, a Golden Girl stitch marker. And that's how much I've knit. So I'm about 10 inches, I think, done on the body. Yeah. So I only have another 6 inches to go on the body, and then I can put the sleeves on. So that is super duper exciting. Again, I am thoroughly enjoying knitting on this. It's going to be so comfy and so cozy. It's going to be like a giant, gorgeous sweatshirt. I love it. I absolutely love it. So, yeah. So that is that. And I also decided to pick up my socks this week. I haven't knit on my socks in weeks and weeks. I've been concentrating on this sweater. But this is getting a little too unruly to take to work to knit on. And especially once I get the sleeves on here, it's just going to be far too much to try and to try and manage, like, at work, like, sitting, I don't need to take up the whole lunchroom table, you know what I mean? So I picked up my socks again. So here in my adorable little sock bag that I have with the constellations, aren't they pretty? Isn't that gorgeous? So the sock pattern that I am knitting is called Couch and Cracker Socks, and it is by, who designed this? Epic fail by me. This is by, oh my gosh, I can't remember. I'll put a link to both these patterns in the description box below, so you guys can go check it out. So like I said, the Couch and Cracker Socks. This camera does not blow out the yarn the way my other camera does. So there is, I'm working on the foot of the second sock. So I've only just started picking these up a couple days ago, so I've only gotten a little bit done. But yeah, I'm still working on the foot. So that's the foot. And then I'm going to do the heel and, of course, the leg and stuff like that. So here's the first sock finished. So this is what the first sock looks like. And I got the heel in there. So yay. So I can't wait to get these done. These have been on the needles for far too long, and I really want to wear them, like, because the fall is coming. And these are going to be absolutely fabulous because of the color. It's actually a lot brighter than that in real life. So this yarn, just for funsies, for those of you who might be fans of the Muppets, the colorway name is Meep. Like, Meep! Like, Beaker from the Muppet Show. So yeah, so that's the yarn. So yeah, and this was Canadian dyed yarn by my friend Erin, because she's awesome. Actually, the yarn and the bag were by Kieran. She has a company called Bling Your String, and she sells adorable project bags and really pretty yarn and sock blanks and stuff like that. It's, you know, if you're into fiber crafts, definitely check her out. I will try and remember to leave a link to her shop in the description box below as well, in case you're curious. So that's what I've been working on. So videos coming up this week, you guys. Very exciting. The one on Tuesday is actually going to be a my TBR rewind, not my TBR rewind, my anticipated reads rewind from September of last year, of 2017. So I've got 5 books that I want to talk about. The other one, like I already mentioned, is my September TBR. Very excited about that one. I cannot wait. I have got some really great books picked out coming in September, and I'm very much looking forward to them. And I'm doing an extra special video this week. It is a non-book related video though. So fair warning, I have had this request for about the last 6 or 8 months from several different people, most recently by Lindsay over at The Wandering Reader. And a lot of people have requested me to do just to sit and do like a little talking video, I guess, about knitting or about my knitting. And I thought, why not? So that's actually going to go up on Sunday. I'm going to film that after I film the booktube videos. And so that's going to go up though on Sunday because it doesn't need a lot of editing. I can just kind of post it. Now, for those of you who may or may not have known, I used to have a knitting podcast. I still do. I haven't officially announced that I'm leaving. I might go back to it. I haven't decided yet. It is the Canadian Knitter Podcast, if you're curious. I have not uploaded anything there in months. And up to that point, it was very sporadic. It's been very sporadic for the last year. So there's not a lot of recent content up there. But that's why I kind of like showing you guys what I'm knitting at the end of every one of these. Because, you know, really, for me to do a podcast, I don't have enough content. So that's why I just like showing you guys here. So anyway, yes, so that is that. But I will be doing that video this week. So today's the day that you guys are seeing this. If you're watching it on Saturday, it's Saturday, so it'll be going up on Sunday. But yeah, so anyway, guys, that is it for this video. I do hope you guys enjoyed it. Please let me know in the comments below if you have any questions or comments or anything at all like that. Like I said, I always do my best to answer them. And I will see you all in my next video. Until then, take care and happy reading, everybody. Bye.